every year the city prepares for the rains. Every year authorities claim they are ready, and yet every year a few hours of intense rainfall are enough to bring financial capital to a standstill. Mumbai witnessed rain, then it witnessed flooding, then traffic chaos, then rain disruption, water-logged roads, heavy monsoon showers. So my question here is about Mumbai. Why does Mumbai sinks again? Is it lack of infrastructure, poor infrastructure, or infrastructure being built in wrong places? Let me straight away introduce my guest, because we need to understand as to what is going wrong with Mumbai, and I'm joined by Professor P.S.N. Rao, Dean School of Planning and Architecture. So what's wrong in Mumbai? Poor infrastructure, lack of upgraded infrastructure, or infrastructure being created where there should have been no infrastructure?
Well, see, these days what is happening is that for a variety of reasons, you are having very intense rainfall in a very short duration of time. That is one part of the story. But what is very important is that when you have a city as huge as Mumbai, you have to have your infrastructure in place. You have to have adequate diameter of pipes which can hold the water and which can carry the water away to places where there is an outfall. Now, the peculiarity of Mumbai is such that it is on the coast, and you have a high tide and you have a low tide. So when there is a very heavy rainfall and when the tide is low, the rainwater can easily be taken out and thrown into the sea. But when there is a high tide in the sea, then the gates of these drains are closed, because otherwise the seawater would actually enter into the stormwater drains. So that's when you have a lot of water that's stagnant here in the city. Now, knowing this very well, we should have prepared for the kind of infrastructure that needs to be created for a unique situation like Mumbai, which probably is not there in Delhi or in some other place. Therefore, the infrastructure is clearly not there. And if you have that infrastructure in place, then you can handle the situation of this high tide and low tide. But the thing is that there is a certain volume of water. You know how much is that volume of water. Every year this has been happening. So if you get your math right and if you get your infrastructure right, then you can take the water, take out the water where it should not be and put it where it should be.
Professor, what I really want to know from you is how vulnerable is Mumbai in context of changing climate? Will Mumbai need to build dikes like Netherlands? Will Mumbai have a sort of an impact which a lot of coastal cities are having across the globe, where the sea is rising, and we have not borne the full brunt of the climate change now?
Yeah, Mumbai is actually much more complex than the Netherlands. Let me tell you, building dikes in Mumbai is it's just a very small part of the solution, because the problem is that the city is built almost to the edge. So there is not much what you can do, because once the rainwater happens in the city, and most of the city is actually paved, you hardly have any open space left for the water to seep down. So the groundwater table is quite high. So you will have to have sponges somewhere on the other side, away from the coast, so that you can pump out this huge amount of water that gets accumulated whenever there is a high tide. So Mumbai is much more complex than the Netherlands is, where in the Netherlands the population is very less, and you have large stretches of open lands, so you can create swamps and all that kind of a thing. So that dike system can't really work here. You have to have huge pumps. You have to have huge diameter pipes. You have to take the water far away and pump it to some other place. On the western side is the sea. So the eastern side is where you have to actually take this water out. Now the problem is that Mumbai is actually expanding. On the east is expanded to Navi Mumbai. Now, are you going to pump out the water from Mumbai to Navi Mumbai? I mean, you can't transfer the problem from one place to the other. So you have to identify what are those places which can be treated as water sponges and keep them as water sponges, and no development should happen there, so that whenever this kind of a situation arises, you pump out the water in that direction. And when the tide again comes down, then you can pump out the water into the sea. So therefore, a high degree of management is required and a very peculiar kind of an infrastructure that is suited to this particular context of Mumbai that has to be created. Unfortunately, we've not done either of them, and therefore every year the story repeats.
So is Mumbai, I know Mumbai is very different from Chennai, Mumbai is very different from Thiruvananthapuram, Mumbai is very different from other coastal cities. But since Mumbai is the financial capital, it gets most attention. So my question is that in future when the sea level rises and the same amount of, as you said in the opening statement, this is also part of climate change, intense rainfall happens, will we require different sort of a climate-proof architecture, sir? Because the buildings that are being built, they are not being built thinking the sort of massive output that happens in couple of minutes, which can have a great impact on the stability of the structure.
Yes, absolutely. You need to have a different way of buildings. Buildings need to have high plinths. You just can't afford to have basements. I know that in Mumbai, most of the parking actually does not happen in the basements like it happens in Delhi or other places. But then nowadays, I think in some places they're again going for basements. So basements are totally out of the scene as far as Mumbai is concerned. But then what is even more important is that you need to regularly maintain these drains. You have to ensure that there is a desludging done on a regular basis so that these pipelines are all cleared up. And many parts of the city actually don't have adequate drainage. And there's a lot of construction debris that's actually also getting collected and all that kind of stuff. So therefore, it is important that the building architecture also has to be handled properly. And at the same time, the roads and the civic infrastructure, the water pipelines, and the pumping mechanisms. And where do you pump out the water? So where are those locations where you can actually keep these? You know, I'll take you to Kolkata for a second. Kolkata has a huge drinking water supply overhead storage tank, probably one of the biggest in Asia, that the British had built a very long time back, and that is one single tank which will service a greater a part of the entire city, just one overhead water tank. So why can't we build such infrastructure where you can actually pump out all the water and put it at a particular place for a certain period of time and allow the tides to come down, and then you can dispose it off into the sea. I mean, there are so many different ways in which you can tackle the situation if only you apply your mind and look at the various options that are available.